Please state your name and any organization you're representing for the record.
My name is Stanley Nelson. I'm professor of human genetics and co-director of the Center for Duchenne Muscular Dystrophy at UCLA, and I have no financial interest in the outcome of the meeting today. I care for children with Duchenne, and I'm an expert in genetic and genetic modifiers. I've served on clinical trials, data monitoring committees, and advisory boards related to Duchenne. Duchenne Connect is the largest online registry, and in 2014, my group published a multivariate analysis looking at all 78 parameters collected and identified that the most strong correlate with age at loss of ambulation was by far the use of steroids. This is using a hard endpoint of age at loss of ambulation. There was a minor difference between daily deflazacort usage and daily prednisone. I'll also comment that the effect of LTBP4, which was brought up by Glenn Knuckles on the advisory committee, would be of minor concern in comparing these sample sets, partly because the LTBP4 allele, the haplotype seen in a homozygous state, would only be present in about 10%, and the effect of LTBP4 observed in 3 independent studies is much smaller than the effect observed by steroids. So controlling for steroids is most important. I can also give you a little bit of a personal take in terms of the hard point of loss of ambulation. I'm also here as the father of Dylan, age 15, living with Duchenne. He lost his ability to walk at age 13 and a half. Most boys that I know socially, and Dylan in particular, are very resistant to this transition and fight hard to push it back as long as possible. This is the case for Dylan. It makes age at loss of ambulation actually a rather hard endpoint. You can change it by weeks, maybe months. Extending it longer is actually very difficult to do. It makes it also an irreversible and highly undesirable endpoint with substantial consequences to his environment and care needs. I note as well, and this point has been brought up by several in the open public hearing and in the Sarepta presentation, that Dylan lost ambulation at 13 and a half and is therefore on the slightly more mild end of Duchenne, and that's supported by multiple natural history data. And yet, when he was 9, his 6-minute walk distance, as determined by being in a different clinical trial, would have compelled him not to be a part of this clinical trial. So the boys that are at the outlier end, those boys that are still walking at age 14, 15, 16, also tend to have better physical measurements at ages 7, 8, 9, and 10, the exact group that Sarepta was hoping to exclude from this. I'll also note that many of these opinions were shared in a letter drafted by 36 experts in Duchenne that actually do support that there is substantial evidence of efficacy for eteplirsen based on the clinical data and based on the reasonable comparison to multiple external data sets. Thank you.